Hello, hello, welcome to another edition of Aletha Solter's, another tip from Aletha Solter's book, Raising Drug-Free Kids. Yesterday, we looked at tip 14, which was breastfeed but be aware of all the drugs. Today is tip 15, never leave your baby to cry alone. I'm T, your joyful parent guide and harmonizer, and it would be definitely out of integrity for me to sort of be preaching to you on this particular tip, because my kids are much older now, and I will let you know a little bit of what my experience was and where I was as a mom back when mine were infants, and it was not necessarily following this tip. But so Aletha says, leaving your baby to cry it out refers to leaving them in their cribs without picking them up and letting them cry themselves to sleep. So neither one of my kids actually ever had a crib. That's a separate story that I can tell another time. But I do remember vividly when my older was, he was definitely walking, so he was he was maybe 15 months old, and he would, kind of roll off the mattress, and he would walk over to the door, and he would cry. And so we would, go in and like sleep with him until he fell asleep, and then inch ourselves away. And we did this for a long enough time that this was before I was a Montessori teacher, but he was in Montessori school. So I asked his teacher, what can we do? Like, this is really, it's kind of taking over our evenings and in some ways part of our lives, and it doesn't feel good. And her advice at the time, which was to solve the problem I was trying to solve, was the cry it out method. And I'm going to tell you, it did not take long. It was like 2 nights. But it did like rip my heart out. So I'm not going to say that was the best thing for me to do. It solved the problem that I had at the time with where I was at the time. And Aletha even says here, if you've done it in the past, or if your kid is older, don't feel guilty. You did the best that you could at the time with the tools and the knowledge and the kind of skills where you were at the time. So I offer that to you in case your kids are past that age and you're kind of in the same boat with that as me. So another couple of really cool things that she says though here I want to share. She says the cry it out approach undermines the basis of secure attachment. And so she really is all about secure attachment. So these are at odds, these two approaches, right? But she says crying doesn't always indicate an immediate need. Instead, it might indicate a baby's need to release stress that results from accumulated frustrations or frightening experiences. And one frightening experience could be like their birth experience, right? And it's interesting because it's not something that we typically think of, like babies having stress. Oh, what does a baby have to be stressed about? Well, that's one perspective, but honestly, I can't imagine. It's hard. Like I don't have conscious memories. I don't think any of us have conscious memories of being born, but that's got to be stressful. And what if it's long labor? What if it's like you're the first child and the way hasn't been paved, so to speak? That could be pretty stressful. So I love that idea that, hey, it's not that the parent is doing anything wrong in the moment. Maybe they're dry and warm and not hungry and not tired, but maybe they just have some things to get out. And so that sounds reassuring. I kind of wish that I had known that as a possibility when my kids were younger. And then, she talks about the crying in arms approach. So she definitely recommends letting the baby cry while you're holding them and being okay with that. Now, I'm remembering back 18 years ago when maybe for my first one that could have worked for a little while, and it did when he was a baby, and he was the only baby, and I was not in a stressful job at that point in time. But for my second, when I already have somebody running around, and there were more stresses in my world, like that is not to be underestimated. For many of us, that can be very stressful on us, allowing a baby to cry while we're holding it. So caring for ourselves and doing whatever we can do to help relax our perspective. Like, it is not through any fault of mine. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm providing this pillow of love for my baby who, for some reason that I don't understand, needs to cry right now. So I love that. I actually really, I like that she talks about that, and also with the acknowledgement that this is not necessarily easy. Some of us, I say us, not that I'm one of them actually, but some of us are, more natural with that, and some of us are not. And I just think that acknowledging that is a really good thing, and acknowledging that the best thing that we can do is take care of ourselves and get the support that we need, because holding a crying baby is not easy. Okay, I think that that's all that I had to say about that one. But I also want to encourage you, if there is someone in your world that, maybe has a baby or is going through kind of a time of it, I want to, like, I have the privacy settings in Facebook on public. So you can feel free to share this, whether it's in Messenger to a specific person or however you feel called to share it. It's there for you and for them. And I also just want to invite you to join the Relational Parents Facebook group. I know people are joining all the time, but I know there's a lot of people that might benefit from being there that aren't there. And tomorrow I'm going to do a little bit more, not on a tip, but I'm going to talk more about the masterclass for December. All right, take good care. Bye for now.